Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to call the public hearing to order. I know we got a lot of folks outside still, but we're going to get the beginning part of this meeting underway. So the first part is a public hearing, and that is to hear comments on Ordinance 2610, an ordinance to adopt the operating and capital budget of the town of Irmo fiscal year 26-27. This will establish a general fund operating budget of $13,025,193 and an orchestra budget of $184,000. Of the folks here, anybody have any comments? Okay, didn't think so. Okay, we're going to move on. Call the regular meeting to order, the May 19th, 6 p.m. meeting, which is about 6:08. Hopefully our police department can get those folks scanned and in here ASAP. We have an honor tonight of bringing up a veteran who, I've got a nice thing here to read, but I'm going to ask him to come on up. Ryan Daniels, would you come up, sir?
Good evening, sir.
You can come up here. Yeah.
My son Joel.
Tonight we're honoring Ryan Daniels, Chief Petty Officer Ryan Daniels. And we do this at least once a quarter. We like to honor a veteran who lives here in the town. And I read this, and I have to read it to everybody because this is outstanding. He was recognized by his wife, Keely. I don't see Keely.
She's in the back. She just got
back. Okay. Hey, Keely, glad you're here. Ryan's journey of service began early. He spent 20 years in the United States Navy, a career defined by technical excellence and leadership. He retired as a Chief Petty Officer, Nuclear Machinist Mate, having served vital tours aboard two of our nation's greatest aircraft carriers, the USS Enterprise, CVN-65, and the USS Eisenhower, CVN-69. To serve 2 decades in the nuclear program is no small feat. It requires a level of discipline and brilliance that we truly admire. In 2021, Ryan brought those talents back home to South Carolina, joining Dominion Energy at the VC Sumner Power Plant. But his work doesn't stop when he punches the clock. Ryan is deeply invested in the future of our youth, serving as the executive officer of the Palmetto Division Sea Cadets, where he mentors the next generation of leaders. He also shares his musical talents with us. This is pretty cool, by the way. I'm on the Philharmonic years. Playing French horn in the orchestra at Riverland Hills Baptist Church. Beyond the uniform and the career, what stands out most about Ryan is his heart for his family. He and Keely have a beautiful story. They met at just 13 years old and married at 17.
Wow.
Kudos to you. Today, Ryan is the dedicated father of 6 children. One of them standing right here. I'm not going to ask where the other 5 are. Above all, Ryan loves the Lord and works tirelessly to provide for and lead his family. Ryan, on behalf of the Town Council of Citizens of Irmo, I want to thank you for your 20 years of service and sacrifice in the Navy and for your continued devotion to the community. You represent the very best of us. Let's all welcome and thank him for his This flag is flown over our Veterans Park for 6 months, and we are proud to honor you with that. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm so impressed. We'll get to talk. We'll talk about what you've done. A couple of words? Anything?
It's an honor. Thank you so much for gifting me this flag. I appreciate it, and it's wonderful to be able to serve the community in any way I can, whether it's through music or through leading children. So thank you all. It's a wonderful blessing just to live here in the town of Irmo. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. We want you and your son to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir.
If you would, please.
Thanks for serving our country.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good to see you. Councilman Ward, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
I'd be glad to. If you are the praying type, please bow your head. Heavenly Father, thank you for today as we convene as town council to consider the town's business. Lord, I don't have to tell you, you see this room is full of people that have passionate hearts and things on their mind to be said and to be heard, as we five up here have things to be listened to, considered, and things to say. Just be with us, help us make the right decisions to lead our town forward. In your son's precious name I pray. Amen.
Okay, the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Reading of the minutes from April 21st, 2026, Town Council minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2026 Town Council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. May 5th, 2026, Town Council workshop minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2026 Town Council workshop.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Report of standing, administrative briefing. Jim?
Mayor, members of council, all applications are now open for the Lexington Health Irmo Okra Strut. Updates have been made to the Strut website and shared on via social media, and talking about Okra Strut in May. The group met on Tuesday concerning the 27 spring concert series. Tentatively, we think we have a pretty good lineup. I'll be able to share those once we have confirmed. We have a bluegrass concert coming on October 30th, 2026, featuring Bill's Pickin' Parlor's very own Willie Wells and the Blue Ridge Mountain Grass. Mitchell Lee from The Voice will be the opening act on that, so hoping a good event for that. And that goes right into Saturday, which is our Trunk or Treat event. Danielle did an amazing job updating the sanitation link on our website. If you receive any calls from your constituents, please refer them to the website. That's been updated and it's easy to use. You type in your address and it's going to list what days are what. Ross Creek Park basketball court is finally finished with the addition of a water fountain and fencing. If you have time, go by and see that. It's a good update. Witt Klein Community Park signs have been all replaced and updated. Danielle's working with Google to make sure when people type that in, it comes up as Witt Klein. Our banking RFP and general contractor RFP officially closed on May 22nd, and we'll repeat those entire process like we have with our prior RFPs. Events committee met this week, and we're ready to go with the July 4th event. And we please welcome Deputy Town Administrator Nicole Burrows coming in on her day number 2 to see all the outpouring of the community.
A lot of support.
So we welcome Nicole. That's all I have, Mayor.
With that, we also want to make sure that we thank Douglas Poland for everything he's done for this community in the last few years. You've been a great deputy administrator, and we're going to miss you. And I'm still kicking myself for giving you a good reference. Doug is moving on to Blythewood, folks. Gonna be the boss man in Blythewood. Okay, Counselor, new in-town businesses.
Well, first we have To The Point Body Piercing at 7532 Woodrow Street. Then we have Irmo Liquor at 1174 Lake Murray Boulevard. Flex Super Gym at 7592 Woodrow Street. Nail Bliss of Columbia, 2746 North Lake Drive, Unit 102. Construction Laser, doing business as TerraWise Solutions at 7453 Irmo Drive, Suite B. That's a construction technology company. And then we have Sela and Company Salon by JC at 8090 Irmo Drive, Suite 23. That concludes the list of new businesses.
Okay, thank you. Next up, consideration of communications. Recognition of the employee of the quarter. Can we all come on down the front for a sec? We do this on a quarterly basis, and we like to recognize the outstanding folks that work for the town of Irmo in a variety of positions and capacities. And the employee of the quarter, this quarter, is none other than Inga Welchel. Inga, are you in here somewhere? There you are, way in the back. Come on up. This is your week. You keep getting more. It's exciting. Folks, let me read a little bit about her outstanding assistance to the police department. Inga has demonstrated exceptional performance in her role as senior administrative assistant. She consistently exceeds expectations by delivering high-quality work, meeting deadlines, and taking the initiative to go beyond her core responsibilities. One notable example includes her recent work assisting with a statewide operation where her efforts directly contributed to streamlining the processing of multiple individuals. Those are not good individuals, by the way, just throw that out there. In addition to her strong performance, Inga goes above and beyond to foster a positive and inclusive workplace culture. She regularly takes the time to bake cupcakes for colleagues' birthdays, a thoughtful gesture that boosts morale and brings the team together. I'll let you know my birthday is. This level of care and consideration reflects her genuine commitment to her coworkers and the organization as a whole. Inga is a reliable and supportive team member. She collaborates effectively, communicates early, and is always willing to lend a helping hand. Her positive attitude and work ethic, strong work ethic, contributes significantly to a productive and motivated work environment. What Inga sets apart is her dedication to excellence and her ability to make a meaningful impact both professionally and personally. She consistently strives to improve, embrace challenges, and contribute to a strong team culture. For these reasons, I strongly recommend Inga for the employee of the quarter. Her contributions make her an invaluable asset to our organization. Sincerely, signed Major John Hendricks, Assistant Police Chief. And I'll tell you what, I have since in the last couple of weeks realized that whole show depends on you.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no, I think so. I want you to have that, and then we want to give you this plaque. Ladies and gentlemen, our employee of the quarter, Inga Welchel. Comments? Anything?
I love this. I do. I've got the best police force to work with. They spoil me and they make me feel so appreciated, and I just love getting up every morning and coming to work there. I really do. I love this town. Thank you so much.
Just in case you want to box it up.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we have another presentation. Dawn, will you come on up? It's a presentation for the Ochre Strut Pageant Scholarships. Right? Ochre Strut Scholarship, same thing.
Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight. As part of the Lexington Health Irmo Ochre Strut Commission, it is our honor to be here tonight to present a scholarship. This began as a tradition by the Lake Murray Irmo Women's Club to fund a scholarship from their fried okra sales each year to qualified Irmo High School and Dutch Fork High School students. They sponsor the female selectees, and the Irmo Ochre Strut Commission now sponsors the male selectees. So we would like to invite up Jackson Stengel. Come on up and hang out with our commission here. Go ahead. So the candidates selected show their community service, honors, awards, and letters of recommendations, and were selected based on those items. So we would like to present this certificate in recognition of outstanding scholarship, leadership, and volunteerism to Jackson Stengel for the Irmo Ochre Strut Commission's 2026 scholarship. So in addition to the certificate, a scholarship will be sent on behalf of our commission by the town to the college of your choice, and I believe that's Wofford? Is that how you say it, Wofford College?
Yes, This kid's really smart.
So we are so proud, and thank you so much for coming tonight and applying for the scholarship, and we hope you do great things with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Next up, we have a couple of proclamations. The first one is, glasses again. I'm going to put these in bigger writing. All right. The first proclamation is Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2026. Is anybody here who's wanted to come on up there? Come on, buddy. I knew you were here somewhere. Is that your mom that pointed to you?
Yeah.
She needs to come up too, because she helped with this. Come on, Mom.
She was on pitcher duty.
Ah, okay. Come on.
We'll reassign.
I know it's all him, but he is your son. There you go. All right. And this proclamation is for Mental Health Awareness Month that was brought to my attention about 45 days ago by this young man. Whereas the town of Irmo recognizes that mental health is essential to the overall well-being of individuals, families, and the community, and whereas May is recognized nationally as a Mental Health Awareness Month, a time dedicated to increasing awareness, reducing stigma, and promoting access to resources and support for those experiencing mental health challenges. And whereas, according to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 in 7 adolescents ages 10 to 19 experience a mental health disorder, with depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders among the leading causes of illness and disability in this age group. And whereas suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among individuals 15 to 29, highlighting the urgent need for awareness, early intervention, and access to care. And whereas youth experiencing mental health challenges are more vulnerable to social exclusion, isolation, discrimination, and stigma, which may discourage them from seeking help and contribute to the educational difficulties, risk-taking behaviors, and poor physical health. And whereas failing to recognize and address mental health conditions during adolescence can result in long-term impacts on both mental and physical health, limiting opportunities for individuals to lead healthy and fulfilling lives. And whereas schools, parents, community leaders, and peers all play a vital role in supporting youth mental health and fostering a safe, inclusive, and supportive environment. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Town Council of the Town of Irmo, South Carolina, do hereby recognize May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Town of Irmo, encourage all residents to increase their awareness of mental health, support those in need, and help reduce the stigma associated with mental health conditions. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Irmo, South Carolina, to be affixed this 19th day of May 2026. Thank you very much. Now we'll test your public speaking skills.
Oh, are we sure?
I know you got it. I know you got it. Tell me what you told me, just briefly.
Just, I wanted to bring awareness to this as someone who's still in high school, as an issue that you see every day in high school, and it can affect attendance and grades, and so it's important just to bring awareness to it and at least be the person that will advocate for it, so. that's what I'm
And you are
thinking
that
about.
person. You are
Yeah.
that person. All right, one more. Counselor, you got it.
Well, it's an honor. I jokingly asked the mayor if in mayor school he learned that he had to read every single word on the proclamation. Now I have the joy and the honor of reading a proclamation, so. Ask and you shall receive. Is Miss Misha McLean here? No? Misha's not here? Or anybody from the Fight of the Butterfly movement? That's all right. So this proclamation is for Lupus Awareness Month, May 2026. Whereas lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that can cause inflammation, pain, and damage to any part of the body, affecting millions of people worldwide. And whereas lupus disproportionately impacts women of color, particularly black women, who are 3 times more likely to develop the disease and experience more severe symptoms. And whereas the month of May is recognized nationally as Lupus Awareness Month to educate, support, and encourage those living with lupus and to promote earlier diagnosis, treatment, and research. And whereas community awareness and advocacy are vital in improving access to care and resources for individuals and families affected by lupus. Whereas Misha McLean, the founder of the Fight of the Butterfly movement, has worked to raise awareness, advocate for and empower lupus warriors, and promote understanding of chronic illness throughout the southeastern United States. And whereas the town of Irmo acknowledges the courage, strength, and perseverance of lupus warriors, caregivers, and advocates who continue to fight for visibility, understanding, and better healthcare outcomes. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and town council of the town of Irmo, South Carolina, do hereby recognize May 2026 as Lupus Awareness Month in the town of Irmo, South Carolina, and encourage all citizens to learn more about lupus, support those impacted, and join the Fight of the Butterfly movement in efforts to increase awareness and find a cure. In witness whereof, Mr. Bill Danielson has set his hand and caused the seal of the town of Irmo, South Carolina, to be affixed to this 19th day of May 2026.
And we'll make sure that we get this to Misha so she has it. Okay? Thank you all. Yep. All right, next up, Community Connections. Councilor Walden?
Thank you. First item tonight is the Sewing and Needlecraft Club. This is a weekly gathering on Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. It will be held at Universal Outreach Church, and that's on Royal Tower Drive. The end of school year bash is happening on May 24th in Moore Park from 12 to 4 p.m. This is free admission, and it's a way to celebrate school being out. On Saturday, May 30th at St. Paul AME Church from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., there'll be a Mental Health Awareness Family Fun Day. This summer, the District 5 is hosting its Summer Break Cafe with free summer meals, breakfast, and lunch will be provided at Dutch Fork High School and Irmo High School. Breakfast 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m., and lunch from 11 a.m. to 12:30. This is providing free meals to all children through the age of 18. You can use this QR code to register your child if you'd like to participate. The Harbison Community Center is holding a multi-sport summer camp. This is going to run from June 1st through August 7th. It's $125 a week. This starts at 7 in the morning and runs until 6 p.m. for students that are rising students in grades 1 through 7. Just a reminder that the 6th annual Juneteenth celebration will take place on Friday, June 19th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Moore Park. And also just save the date for the District 5 Foundation's annual fundraising gala, an evening for education. This is their big fundraiser where they raise funds that they use for teacher grants, student grants, and snack pack program throughout the year. This will be on October 17th from 7 to 10 p.m. at Saluda Shoals River Center. And that concludes the community connections.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay. Next up will be presentation by citizens for agenda items only. We have a substantial list here. I'm going to monitor it for repeat feedback so we can keep it to a minimum the best we can. I don't have to remind people that we need to be civil and respectful. Refrain from making comments in the crowd, clapping, applauding, jumping up and down, shouting, any kind of foolishness like that. Believe me, it happens. And you'll be allowed 3 minutes. 3 minutes to speak, and we will let you know when you're close. Lisa's sitting right there. She'll let you know when your time's up if you exceed the 3 minutes. So with that being said, this is always the fun part for me, trying to read people's names. Ronald Vaughn. Please give your address and your name, please.
I'm Dr. Ronald Vaughn. I live at 729 Saxony Drive in the Cademan Creek community. I'm a retired pastor. The churches that I serve would be amazed that I would attempt to speak for 3 minutes or less, but we'll try. As I said, I'm a resident of Cademan's Creek subdivision. I'd like to speak to your reading of Ordinance 2612. This proposed development would literally be at my back door. The proposed construction is being called a development project, and in some ways this is certainly true. A construction project of this magnitude will certainly add more homes to our community, expand the tax base, and yield a sizable profit for the builders. But then the builders will be gone, and Irmo residents like me will live with the ongoing consequences of their work. There is another side to development, and that is destruction. When you build anything, you also tear something up. In this case, this construction will, I believe, wield a destructive blow to the way of life that attracted my family and many others to the Irmo community. I've also been a university teacher. The most generous grade I could give what has been presented about this project to us so far is incomplete. We have not studied and weighed the consequences of this project to our already overcrowded roads, our school system, our environment, and our quality of life. I urge you as my town council to halt this project until we have taken the time and done the work to see the big picture and the long view of how it will affect our community. And thank you for hearing my concerns.
Thank you, sir. Folks, we just discussed, there's no clapping, no cheering, no, please, let's keep moving, okay? We know how you all feel, and we want to hear what you all have to say. All right, Brian Murdaugh.
Good evening, I'm Brian Murdaugh. I live directly across from the proposed development at 1431 Shady Grove Road. Over 1,200 neighbors have signed a petition asking council to slow down. I don't know if, could you take that? Wonderful. I'm here to tell you why. The traffic impact analysis is not complete. We all know this. The only traffic condition on the negotiated agreement is SCDOT compliance, which is the legal minimum for any project in any municipality or county that I am aware of. There's no specific road improvements, no binding mitigation, and there is no finished study. Lexington School District 5 has not been formally contacted. Not one of the 11 negotiated conditions requires that. At last night's developer drop-in, ACD confirmed that they would fund road widening. That's encouraging, but it's a verbal statement at an informal meeting. It's not a binding condition. And finally, I'd ask the council to review section 2-3.6B5 of the Irmo Code of Ordinances. It states that multifamily housing shall access only roads with a minimum of 4 paved lanes with a turning lane. Shady Grove Road has 2 lanes. The developer says they'll widen it, but consider what that actually means on this corridor. You'd be widening perhaps 1,000 feet of a secondary road that feeds directly into miles of 2-lane road in one direction and Highway 176 in the other. And that's not even a 4-lane thoroughfare. That's a patch of wide pavement that dumps traffic right back into the same bottleneck. The ordinance exists for a reason. It contemplates multifamily housing on roads that can actually carry the load, not roads that can be temporarily widened at the entrance to create the appearance of compliance. My ask is simple: do not approve this until the traffic study is complete. The road widening commitment is a binding condition with a defined scope that aligns with the general traffic woes of the area, and the school district has been formally consulted. Over 1,200 neighbors are asking you to do this right. Thank you.
Thank you. Joshua Taylor.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be any more new neighborhoods or new apartments. This area is already overcrowded. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic in most places around here, and there's already been enough destruction and pollution to our natural environment, and bad elements are starting to come into town. Thank you.
Hunter Suggs.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Hunter Suggs. I actually live in Forest Acres. I'm here on behalf of the owners of the property, who is the Barr family, who cannot be here tonight, but I've represented them in a capacity as a listing broker for now about 8 years. And we certainly have full support for the project. The Barrs are in support. Many of you may know the name. They actually grew up on the property. So I just wanted to come in front of you and let you know that the group we're working with has all intentions of doing this correctly per code. They're going to meet every standard they have to meet. The development process is arduous and strenuous. As a land broker, I know this from dealing with multiple municipalities and agencies from DOT. Getting something through, all that is challenging. So these guys are going to meet every hurdle and do it right. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Chris Lindley? Lindley?
I hope y'all don't move forward with this building, but if you do, I am directly impacted because their property borders my property. And I talked to Chris last night, I can't remember his last name, about my concerns of my privacy and protecting my property from trespassers. So I asked him if he would do at least a 100-foot buffer because the apartment complex is in front of my house. And then for security, I asked for a fence. I would like to see 10-foot tall fence. And the other concern of mine is I have a pond that relies on watershed off this property, which now is going to go away. So, you know, like I said, I'm not for it, but I just want to be protected if it goes in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Julie Zion?
I'm Julie Zion. I live at 1704 Shady Grove Road, just across the interstate from where this is being proposed. I know that this is a zoning, quote, just a formality kind of thing, but what we are seeing is residents in this particular area, you have failed to look at the impact on us. This area has been dealing with insufficient infrastructure for well over 2 decades. This multiplies and adds to that. Brian mentioned the fact that this multi-family housing has to be on a 4-lane paved road. You also have to provide for adequate and convenient traffic access with the multifamily housing. I'm not sure what the development we have seen has shown that. It's minimal. Also, I know that the Irmo ordinances do not have a requirement on the number of entrances, but with the number of units that this is having, it's in excess of 200. Up to 100 to 200, you have to have 2 entrances. Over 200, you have to have the fire marshal's approval. And the Richland County's requirement, there has to be 325 feet between the entrances, edge to edge. That's going to pretty much be the entire front edge of that property. I think as a citizen, I am not in the, quote, voting district of Irmo, so I am concerned that you all are not concerned about those of us that are outside of your range. But it's not a good way to build rapport with the community or outside of Irmo. Last week, the experience with the Planning Commission was quite disappointing. They were very dismissive of our concerns, particularly about safety and traffic. They also were very condescending about the fact that this was about money and that they could you only collect business licenses. Business licenses are based on gross revenue, and 290 rental units will have gross revenue. Also, as far as the school district is concerned, I would request that you would request a concurrence report from the school district and the school that this elementary school that this area is going to be zoned for is going to be moving and shrinking in size and capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is it Marlene Gant?
My name is Marlene Ellis-Gant.
You can pull the mic down. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have been a resident of this community. Well, first, I live off of Kennerly Road, right up from Shady Grove. And the infrastructure is not compatible for this type of growth, and that has already been brought out. Plus, I agree with all of the other persons who have spoken and have talked about the schools as well as the regulations not being fully involved and fully surveyed prior to this. It does appear to me that you are pushing this harder than it should be, and that is not acceptable when it shows that we don't have the capability to support this number of apartments. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Amy Barons?
Hi, my name is Amy Barrows. I live at 1408 Shady Grove Road, which is the property adjacent to the proposed development. When Chuck and I purchased that property, we knew that there was a very good chance that the property next to us would be developed at some point. It's not a disinterest in growth or knowing, we are well aware that the community needs to continue to grow and that affordable housing and senior affordable housing is a concern and an interest to the community. However, the magnitude of this development and the potential for 750 potential new additions, 900 feet from an already busy intersection, is not, I think, the perfect ideal location for that kind of development. The property, of course, if the road were to be widened, would be our property, the road frontage there, and the one entrance and exit to the development is just off of our back door. So it is an interest to us as representatives of us, the people in the town. I would urge you to please consider the impact that we will have to deal with after the fact the development is in and the developers are long gone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Chuck Roush? I got that right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Lauren Crandall? Not here? Okay. Danielle Eliezer? Emily Atkinson?
My name is Emily Atkinson, and I have lived in this area for about 23 years. I live in Ashford community, which is right down the road from all these fine folks on Shady Grove. I basically I know that the infrastructure has been talked about, but our neighborhood is not opposed to any growth, okay? But growth is expected, but growth must be responsible and measured and supported by infrastructure that already exists or is guaranteed to be built first. Approving hundreds of new units by widening roads, addressing intersections, improving stormwater systems, and fully evaluating service capacity puts existing residents in an unfair position. It shifts the burden of planning failures onto the people who already live there after the developers are gone. I ask the board to delay approval until a comprehensive traffic study, infrastructure capacity review, and long-term housing use protections are presented publicly. Development should not move faster than the community's ability to support it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Janet Graham? Is that right? Okay, did I get the name right? Okay. And Steve is with you? You're both okay now? Okay, thank you. Okay, folks, that's the list. I want to thank you all for addressing us. We're going to move on now to unfinished business. Item A. This is the second and final reading of Ordinance 2610 to adopt operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 26-27. Brought by the staff, this will establish a general fund operating budget of $13,025,193 and an orchestra budget of $184,000 for the fiscal year 26-27. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Haven't been appropriately motioned. Jim?
Nothing's changed.
Anything changed from our previous approval?
No, Mayor.
Okay. With that, I will ask Lisa for the roll.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you. All right, now we're on to new business. First reading of ordinance 2611, an ordinance to rezone 6.07 acres of real property located at 7949 Broad River Road, TMS R04006-02-25, from CG to, which is general commercial, to general commercial with conditions, to amend the official zoning map of the town of Irmo to so reflect that. That's from the Planning Commission. This would allow the construction of a new 42,000 square foot storage building as well as expansion into the existing buildings while requiring site improvements and significant landscaping. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned and seconded, Councilor Waldman?
Yes. I have a lot of questions about this proposal. And I guess my major concern is that in 2023, we actually relegated mini warehouse storage units to light manufacturing zones. And this is a general commercial zone. And although it's asking for special conditions, I still feel like because the applicant is actually asking for construction of a new building with additional 42,000 square feet, that this should be looked at more as a new storage facility request. It looks like they are also asking for expansion into the existing buildings, which to me, that's compatible with expanding the existing business that's already there. But I have a lot of individual questions as well about the numbers of entrances that would be required or limited for a storage facility versus the number of entrances that are currently there for this commercial zone. Also, previously, there was a limit of 4 acres for properties that contain mini warehouses, and this is a 6.07 acre property. I mean, it's attractive that part of this agreement would be the beautification of this property. I mean, that's a big bonus, but in my opinion right now, I don't think it's worth the trade-off of making this exemption or these conditions just for the beautification part of it.
If sorry, may I address staff directly?
Yes.
I believe, Doug, you'd be able to answer these questions, possibly. If not, I imagine you can get the answers. To Dr. Waldman's point, with the 4-acre component, does what you have written in the conditions provide them special permission to go over that 4 acres, or would the 4-acre limit still apply?
Yes, this would give them special permission. So the whole point of having this as a conditional use zone is that you're effectively creating a zone just for this one particular lot. You know, if a person were to come into an empty space of land that was zoned general commercial and say, hey, I want to build storage facilities, in general, the response from staff would be, well, that's not allowed. You know, it's not zoned light manufacturing, the lot's too large, you know, whatever the conditions may be. I think in this case, staff's feeling and in discussion with some members of council that because they are an existing business that's already there, we can't ask them to leave, so they're already there. They're already in a zone where they're not currently allowed. They're already in a lot that's bigger than is currently allowed if they were to be a new business. So this is what we have now, is an existing lot that, you know, used to be BILO, but BILO's not coming back. So does it make sense to allow an expansion in exchange for beautification? And, you know, putting facade improvements on the existing buildings, putting in an attractive new building, putting in landscaping improvements. So ultimately, that's the question that council needs to ask itself.
Okay, and to that point, with those comments, the facade improvements are for both sets of buildings, both sets of existing buildings on that property.
That's correct.
Okay. The new building that's being built in the drawing, it doesn't specify, but is it restricted to one story?
It is one story, yes.
It is one, okay. And then I saw that there is a 15 feet buffer on either side, the sides that border the two roads. It appears that the landscaping that is in the plans is meant to help provide a visual buffer so that we don't see as much of the parking lot or the buildings. If we approve this and they plant these plants, what is there for us as the town to hold them to maintaining those plants and making sure that that landscape keeps up?
Sure. The landscape ordinance requires that if, say you're required to put in 5 trees per 100 linear feet and 35 shrubs, whatever, and say a tree dies, that would be a code enforcement issue. They would have to replace that tree. Also, if they were to put in, say, crepe myrtles and then go through and chop the tops off of them, you get a warning in 1 year, but after that, you'd have to pull that tree out and replace it with something else. And so we keep those landscaping plans in perpetuity so that we know exactly what, that was supposed to be an elm, that was supposed to be a live oak, whatever, and they'd have to replace that.
Perfect. And then two more questions to satisfy what I've got. The expansion into the existing commercial space that Dr. Waldman mentioned, I was reading through the ordinance and the language, and I believe it's condition 7 mentions that changes will either be minor amendments or major amendments, and the approval is up to the zoning administrator. Would that expansion qualify as what you're calling a minor or major amendment? And then what would actually trigger somebody stopping the owner of this from just kicking everybody out and taking over the whole shopping center?
Well, we could definitely add a condition for that.
Okay.
So the minor amendment and major amendment would be more like, because I think they're asking to be able to expand into the existing structures, and so that would be part of their allowable rezoning. They could simply move into those vacant units. But say they were allowed to do a 42,000 square foot additional structure, and they came back and said, no, we want to do 50,000 square feet. Well, no, you were allowed 42, and so anything more than that could be determined as a major amendment, and they'd have to go back through this process, or they would be held just to the 42. Likewise, if they were to make major changes to landscaping or exterior materials, something like that, if they wanted to go against the conditions that have been approved by council, that would either be a minor or major. Minors tend to be more like, this is the drawing we gave you, but can we change this exterior material to this exterior material? And that's more, we would handle at the staff level.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question, I've had several people contact me about just the overall appearance of the reduced parking spaces. In your professional planning opinion, the space that is left existing right now is existing commercial. If it were to be filled by tenants, thank you, would that parking be sufficient for office businesses, retail businesses, people that have people coming to their offices?
Sure. I mean, so in general, in a shopping center, parking requirements are 4 spaces per 1,000 square feet. I'm not sure how much square footage is left over there of existing businesses, but I would venture to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,000 to 8,000 square feet. So that's probably about 50 parking spaces, and I think there's a fair bit more than that out there. The storage facility itself would probably utilize at most 5 spaces at any given time. And so there's a significant amount of parking left over there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
I have a couple of questions. Doug, please.
Yes, ma'am.
To piggyback on what...
I'll get to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
I'll get to you. All right. So I can't think of anything that this area abhors more than car washes and storage units. I'm coming. When we put down 42,000 square feet of more storage units, that revenue goes back to New York. The property owner is unwilling to provide alternate lease arrangements to the tenants. I have personal experience there. That space could be productive as it is, if there were more flexibility there. But I don't have a lot of technical questions. I have feedback from the public and my own personal experience. That's a no for me.
Okay, I just
We
have
haven't
questions.
called for a vote yet either, so that's premature.
I just wanted to piggyback on in terms of our questions. If, for example, they couldn't build this, my question to you is, how long has that property been sitting in the vacant status that it is right now? From what I perceive as a blighted state. How many years has that bylaw been going?
It's well before my time. I don't know when Bilo closed, but that was probably, how long ago?
Like 12?
15 years ago.
12, 15 years ago?
Wow,
Okay.
yeah, and I know it's been the storage facility for the last, 3.5 years that I've been here, so probably about 5 years it's been the storage facility.
Right.
And I know in that time, they've done a significant amount of work on that building in terms of foundation repair and stuff, so they have spent a fair bit of money on that.
I'm just going through that parking lot. It looks a little blighted to me.
Yes.
The question too is how much, because, blight is kind of a matter of taste, right? If they couldn't build what they're building, they could hold out, if it's my understanding, because it's their property, and do just enough, and it could still look like it's looking for maybe another 15 years if they wanted to hold the money like that, right?
That would be correct.
I'm just trying to see what leeway we have with someone who's a private owner of that property. My other question is, have we had any businesses or developers who've said, we want to come in there and do something, and either the owner or us turn them down?
The town definitely hasn't. I don't know that the owner has or not. He has told us that he has attempted to bring in some national tenants and some other tenants. I think his concern with some of the local tenants that he's had talks with was, their ability to continue paying rent, for an extended period of time. And the national tenants that he has sought have just not located there. I do not know why.
Okay. And I know we have a concern about kicking out existing tenants, but we can't put a mandate on how much he wants to charge for his spaces, can we?
I would say no. I mean, we could probably put something like a condition in there that he give them the reasonable opportunity to maintain their tenancy.
Mhm.
And I know that he did say that in the planning commission that he has no intention of, say, kicking out the bar or the laundromat because they pay rent. But if the bar or the laundromat were to close up shop, they have no intention of seeking someone else to fill that space. They'd like to expand into it themselves.
Okay. And then my last question just has about the vegetation that we're asking them to plant. I know we said you have to maybe plant some trees, but there's no wiggle room for them to plant a tree, but the tree only grows to about 5 feet and that's it. And it won't get any taller because I'm expecting enough vegetation that it's not clearly visible to me, similar to, say, the storage area down there where the old Kmart used to be off of Bush River. Yeah, I don't want to look like that.
Sure. So we have a pretty extensive tree palette in the zoning ordinance. There's about 300 different plants listed in there between pine trees, canopy trees, understories, and shrubs. And so they'd have to pull from that. And so our code requires at least half the trees to be canopy, which means they would grow to a full mature height of over 40 feet. And then of the other half, they could do half understory, half evergreen type trees. And so there's a pretty, it's laid out fairly well in terms of what they have to plant. Now, immediately, you're going to get 8-foot tall trees that are about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, the kinds of things you see at Lowe's. And then, so over the course of decades, they become the trees that you want them to be, but
Right.
yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Thank you. This all goes back to, do we make the exception? There's a reason we put them in light manufacturing. Or do we want to continue to look at this parking lot and the associated buildings, especially the one across, the one that's not really used? And how long is it going to sit there like that? So my question, my whole decision, and frankly, I'm kind of on the fence. But my whole question revolves around not necessarily landscaping, but I call it screening, right? I mean, what can we do to make sure that this is going to be done the way we want it to be done? And by that, I mean, we don't want to see fencing and doors, overhead doors coming up. We've talked to them about this, I believe, you have, about making fake windows on the sides, those types of things, architectural improvements to make it somewhat attractive. So we have to ask ourselves the question, and does it include them moving into the unused building at this point? That 42,000 is just strictly new, right?
The 42,000 would be the new structure shown in the drawing. That's the little pink box. But yes, so they would expand into the unused offices in their current footprint where it says prime space on it, and then they'd also put units in the smaller storage, the smaller building where Bart's used to be.
They will put
That's
in there.
That's the plan.
And they'll
yes.
have to have all of those architectural improvements
That's correct.
to that. Okay.
And I would say if there are any other additions you'd like to see in the terms of the conditions, we can definitely add those, and I can, speak with the developer, prior to second reading, should it pass tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we did pass it, it's got to have other conditions. It's got to be substantial. There can't be 2 caliper trees. They may need to be 4 caliper trees that are 12 feet high with screening evergreens between them, something really, really strict. Not to use another term, but we need to have some strict landscaping in there. Something that means something out of the gate, right out of the box. I'm not going to be around in 2 decades to see those trees mature, so I'd like to see something now if we do get that far. So that's where I'm at on it.
Right, real quick.
Sure.
So to the mayor's point, I was looking at some of these plans in great detail yesterday and today. They have a landscaping list, a plant list, whatever you call this, on the top right drawing. How strict is it that they follow those specific plants that they list on there?
Basically as strict as you would want it to be.
Okay.
So in this case, because they are asking for these conditions, I think the way we've written it is that it has to be substantially similar to the zoning administrator's opinion. So
Okay.
if they gave us a call and said, hey, we're supposed to do this kind of oak, but that's not available, can we possibly use this kind of oak? Normally we would switch things like that out, and that happens all the time. On the other hand, if you all were to say, it says this is what it is, or if you all said we wanted something different, then we can
Okay.
put that into the code.
So the point is, it's what they have listed should be what they put in. However, if they want to change it, they have to ask permission.
That is correct.
Okay, and as a condition, are we allowed to put a time frame limit on this so that it doesn't sit for the next 10 years in development?
Yeah, sure. I mean, actually, what we normally do that, I think we actually have that for the other item on the agenda tonight in terms of like a 2-year sunset provision. If this does not get done to the zoning administrator's acceptance level, then yes, it would revert back to its original zone of general commercial.
Thank you.
Last question / comment.
Thank you. Do you know where the power lines run above these properties? Because I know that's been a problem that we've run into on Columbiana, that the landscaping was planned out, and then all of a sudden power poles are put up above the trees that are going to end up hitting those power lines.
Sure.
So that just makes me wonder, especially on the Broad River Road side, do we know where all those power lines are going to be relocated, and how would that affect these vegetative buffers?
Yeah, I do not know. I know one of the conditions I put in there was even after the widening, the buffer must remain at 15 feet. So I can find out.
My last comment, not to jump ahead, but Doug, in a week, you'll be out of here. And I'm looking at the lady sitting to your left. Is she, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and I'm so thrilled she's here. Might be the last nice thing I say to you. Kidding, I'm kidding, folks. It would be up to you to carry this out if we do approve this thing, but they would have to follow these conditions. We're talking about specific screening, and can we do that? Can we just enforce all of that on them? And if they don't do it, they don't, and we need to see the plan before the second reading, if there is a second reading, right?
Yes,
or
sir.
they defer the second reading, or we just shoot it down tonight.
Well, again, me being new, my preferred path would that if you have very specific conditions in addition to what Doug has already put down, that we get those very clearly stated. And then I have taken notes on everything everybody is saying so that I can go back and just make sure that before second reading, you guys are satisfied that the conditions have been met. And then, yes, we can enforce whatever it is that is the will of council.
Yeah, they would not get a CO unless they meet the conditions.
Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
For first reading, yes.
Mr. Penfield?
No.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
No.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you all. All right.
Now the fun begins.
First, new business. Under new business, our next one up, first reading of ordinance 2612, an ordinance to rezone 67.35 acres of real property located at or near 1424 Shady Grove Road, TMSR 033000302-37 and -44, from CG, general commercial with conditions, to RN, negotiated residential, and to amend the official zoning map of the town of Irmo to so reflect, which was brought to us by the Planning Commission. This would allow the construction of 200 apartments, 90 senior duplex units, and 40 single-family detached units on the property. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, we'll open for discussion. Counselor?
Yes, there's a lot of unknowns at this point in terms of this negotiated residential zoning, and I think there's a lot of room for us to negotiate those details in terms of the requirement for a traffic impact analysis, which would include the road widening requirements if there were any. I just think at this point, as proposed, this isn't good enough to be final. But that I think that perhaps we should take the time to look into this further, negotiate further in terms of what we want the developer to be able to do, be required to do.
Counselor?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Barb is saying. I mean, given what the public has come up and said, what I heard earlier in a meeting, in the Planning Commission meeting, she's right. I think, if nothing else, what I took away from that is maybe we need to take a look at a process of introducing these types of developments, period. Maybe more upfront input. To hear that the school district doesn't know maybe they're going to get a huge impact, et cetera, et cetera. That's concerning for other reasons other than maybe what we've heard today. And so you're right, Barb. I think we need to know more. We need to really see what it's going to be. And I agree with you. Lots of questions still outstanding.
I don't see any conditions in which I would be supportive. We have enough traffic. We have enough demand in our schools. We're going to turn it into Lexington if we're not proactive about this.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Thank you. So those of you that have been following me, I ran in the special election last year, and one of the things that I ran on was concurrency, because I believe that we are a community. I understand that the only people that can vote for me are town residents. I'm very much aware of that. However, I run into all of y'all in Walmart, at the soccer fields, at the high school football games. We are one community. So I do believe in concurrency. To the points about the school district, I've had my own discussions with them about concurrency, and usually their response is, well, if there's an overwhelming demand, we will move students around. That has been their answer. I do know that area has seen declining enrollment year after year after year. And that was one of the reasons why one of the recent board members suggested that we close down Dutch Fork Elementary and distribute the other students to other schools, was because of the constant declining enrollment. However, I think there are bigger issues. One of my questions, Doug, would be, from what I understand, phase one of this, which is the workforce housing, it has tax credits lined up. The second phase, which would be the senior living, would also require tax credits. So what guarantee do we as council have that those tax credits will actually be received by the developer so that they can move forward, especially within that 3-year time period that they have to obtain those tax credits?
I'll say I know the applicant is here if you'd like to have them answer those questions.
Sure. I guess, Chris Young, you want to step up? Well, folks, this is for a dialogue between council and the developer. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Chris Young with American Community Developers. Specifically in answer to your question, we have been successful in South Carolina with 7 other communities with tax credits. Okay, this this one has been allocated tax credits for the workforce housing, attainable workforce housing, 200 units. And it is our intent to work with the town and with the state on the senior side. And we are willing to make guarantees on that we will get the senior done.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just going to harp on that for one moment, because you may not be aware, but we've had several conversations as council. We are very concerned about the senior population and the senior community. There's this idea and buzzword of aging in place, but sometimes folks just cannot stay in their houses, and they need to move to a place where it's smaller, it's more convenient, and it's easier for them to be able to live. So I hear you saying that you can guarantee that the phase 2 will be developed, but what does that actually look like tangibly? Like what guarantee is in place to let us know that will happen?
Well, let's step back, okay? And again, I give you data. The data can be objective or subjective. You can decide on that. But in attainable workforce communities throughout the United States, and in our experience, 45 to 50% of all 1 and 2 bedrooms are filled by residents age 55 plus. So the workforce, 200 units, is going to provide senior people with a place to live, as I said. And let me see, 70% of our units are 1 and 2 bedrooms. So there's going to be a considerable amount of attainable units that would be available to that age group. And I'm just giving the data across the nation, okay?
Thank you.
And if, Mr. Mayor, if I would just make a couple of comments. We are, and have been, through this process, following the town's procedures on how we should proceed with the town and the community. And we've been doing that, and from traffic study to et cetera. I will say that we have had consultation with the school district. And maybe, Mr. Councilman, your remarks may be correct, but the school, in meeting with Dr. Harris, told us that the development would have little impact on the school system. And in fact, the 2024 bond issuance was, I'm giving you information given to us, okay, directly from the school. So we did talk to the school, we did contact them, et cetera, and we were told by Dr. Harris that this development was predicted as part of the 2024 bond approval and the reason for it, and that this, when it comes online in 3 years, would have little impact. I'm telling you what they told us, direct statement. The fire chief, it would not be problematic for the fire department of Irmo, district of Irmo Fire, for them to service this community. Direct quote from them. As far as the traffic study, yes, it's ongoing. We have agreed, and as part of the process with the town, that, and in fact, we broke it out into 3 phases, traffic study on purpose, to show what the impact on each phase would be to the road systems, not just on Shady Grove, but the rest in surrounding area. And that we had agreed as part of this that we would improve whatever the requirements are at each phase concurrently with the development of the project. So before we can take the C of O, before we can move people in, that road improvement has to be done. And it was our understanding as we work with the town that that's part of the, in our neighborhood negotiations that we're doing, the residential negotiations, that's part of the process, that we have to put in writing and agree to certain things with the town and the community to be able to do this development. We believe this development is really a noble cause, and the fact that it is going to allow people, and people say, who's going to live there? And this answers that you hear a lot, but if you look on Indeed.com, or if you go and look on the fire department's website, advertising with the pay ranges, if you look at what an officer with the town of Irmo police officer makes, all that pay ranges from pharmacy technician at Walmart to the Chick-fil-A shift leader. All of those jobs fall within the range that they would be eligible to live in this community. And we give them a place not only to work, but also to live within the town.
Contemplating. I'm going to address what I've seen, at least on social media, this fear that this development is going to bring in undesirables, basically Section 8. Do your developments typically lend to Section 8 housing?
There is different types of affordable housing across this nation. We operate in all realms of that. But in the 80s under Reagan, they developed a program for workforce housing that used tax credits, and that's what this program is, okay, as approved by Congress. There is technically no such thing as new Section 8 anymore. There is no program for that. There's existing Section 8 and improvements of the existing Section 8. This is a workforce housing development that would not be Section 8. It would not have HAP vouchers from the federal government. It doesn't exist.
All right, so just to allay the fears that are in the room, so you're saying that if you built this, it wouldn't be a forced Section 8 development where everybody's running around as undesirables, correct?
Ma'am, again, I'll repeat.
I'm just addressing,
And I apologize, Councilwoman, I would repeat, this is not a Section 8 project.
Okay.
It will not be a Section 8 project.
Okay.
It can't be a Section 8 project.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted
I'm just raising my voice because I hear the concerns of the people. They talked to us about it yesterday. If I'm not explaining myself well to everybody in the room, it is a workforce housing community. It is a completely different definition of attainable affordable housing here in the United States. Only people that pay the rent is the people who live there. They have to have jobs to pay it. No one else pays it. And they have to pass the public safety background check, the credit checks, everything else that you would have a normal type rental situation here.
Right, just your everyday working American is going to come in, and if they can afford to pay the rent and qualify, they pay
can
the
live
rent.
there.
Okay, thank you.
Couple questions.
Yes, Mayor.
We really put the onus on senior housing, right? And I know you get your stats and all around the country, but I'm going to be blunt, okay? And if I admit I'm going to be blunt, it's going to be blunt. These people don't believe you. You're from Detroit. They don't give a crap. They don't believe you. So it's not to say we don't. I'm just telling you, these folks think you're going to put up affordable housing, and the phase 2 and phase 3 are going to be gone, and you're going to be gone, and we're going to be sitting there. Now, that's not me saying that. I'm telling you the reality. You have done a very good job between last night. I wasn't here last Monday night, but between last night and tonight, explaining what this project is. All right? You've done a good job. Don't shortchange yourself there. Your audience just doesn't believe you. And I don't know how to overcome that. Now, to Councilman Ward's comment, by the look of this list, and I might be wrong, out of 20 people or so on this list, one person lives in the town limits of the town of Irmo. But he's right. We are a community. We care. And one of the things I want to express upon the folks sitting in this room, we shoot this down, you go away, the broker is sitting right over there, and I'm not going to put him on the spot, but I can tell you another contract's coming right behind it for 300 residential units or some number there out, and we're going to be right back here again. And that's just not gonna fly, right? I mean, those folks have the right to sell their property and maximize their property. Now, you have to follow the laws and DOT and all of that. And I understand most general folks don't know how this process works. And it's complete panic at this point. And it's unfortunate. But, you know, I'm concerned about the housing, and I'm concerned about I do believe you. I'm just concerned about the same things they're concerned about. That's where you make your money, 200 and 300 units. You put them up, you manage them, and you go to the next project. That's okay. That's how business works. That's how development works. I don't know how we're going to get past this to guarantee that we can put 55 and older in these duplexes and or single-family homes at a reasonable market rate. And it's probably an impossible thing to ask you, but I don't know how you can guarantee that.
I was up front, Mayor, with the people yesterday. They asked me specific questions. 100% guarantee this and that. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you 100%. There's just no way. That is not my character. I understand where you're coming from, but it is our intent. It is our commitment. And as we go through, God willing, to the second reading, that we would have a negotiated resolution with guarantees in place that would allow the council to be satisfied. Okay? And if they're not satisfied, we understand, but that was part of, I thought, the overall process that we were doing. And we have been working very diligently on that and coming what we think, in our opinion, is a thoughtful response to how it should be laid out and how it should be done. And I know you talk about the developer going away, but we own the place. We're not going away. We own properties in South Carolina, 7 or 8 others. We're not going away. And it's one of our main focus states that we operate in and have made significant commitments.
Just so we're clear, I'm speaking from the experience and what we're seeing here, okay?
Just a couple follow-ups. Just to be clear, there are, per this proposal for first reading, 200 workforce development units. Those would all be rentals, correct?
That is correct statement.
Okay,
Councilman.
and according to your most recent statement there, you're going to own those properties for, I presume, at least the 30 years that the federal government requires?
That is a correct statement, but typically we don't ever sell a property.
Don't ever sell, okay.
We've been in business not quite 50 years, and in 50 years, maybe 2 properties.
Okay.
And we have
and
hundreds in our portfolio.
Who manages those properties for
Our
you?
internal management company manages it.
Okay, so
Independent
you're not outsourcing that?
No, we don't outsource our
Okay, the 90 units that are being promised for senior housing, specific senior housing, how many of those are rentals versus purchase?
Those would be rentals too.
So all be
Okay.
rentals.
And those, again, would be internally managed by our company.
Okay, and then the 40 single-family, are those intended for rentals, or are those intended for?
Those are meant for sale, but let me tell you the understanding of the 40 homes, or whatever that number may be as part of the negotiated resolution, is that was meant to provide a buffer to Cadman's Creek, okay? And we think that we're providing, typically, in a typical zoning, anywhere in the United States, single family to single family would never have a buffer, by the way. But it was an intent for us to provide additional buffers to all the neighbors, to extend the typical minimum buffers to more larger buffers to protect the surrounding neighborhoods. And that was part of what our proposals are on there. And, you know, we're willing to work with the people on that and to the most reasonable level that we can to provide assurances that we will be good neighbors. And in fact, as we develop and design this development, that we take into account that.
Go ahead.
I'm still, for that first phase, so there won't be any particular targeted housing for seniors in that first phase? Is that what I'm understanding?
Ma'am, that is a correct statement of fact that does not have a targeted on it, okay? But as I said, in fact, just actual data, which can be subjective or objective, how you want to look at it, okay, shows that an attainable workforce housing community in the United States, typically 45 to 50% of the residences are age 55 plus. It's because it's attainable housing. It's what they're looking for and what they can then still live here in Irmo. There's no reason you wouldn't take someone like that.
And I'm not arguing that the data doesn't say that. What I'm concerned about is what is your definition of attainable housing by dollars per month?
I can
Because it might not apply to Irmo, you see.
Yeah. So what the United States does is housing and urban development gives us guidelines throughout the United States. So Irmo has an income, AMI, area median income, and it also has a metropolitan statistical area. See if I can't say that word right. And we have that data here. And that data shows, if you don't apologize, let me pull it out. The data shows that the average income level in this area is $92,700 for this area. Okay, I'm telling you, for a family of 4, I'm telling you what you are defined as. Okay, you can laugh at me. I'm giving you factual information.
I'm not laughing at you. I don't know who cooked up those numbers.
Okay. Listen, you are grouped together in the Lexington, Richland, Columbia MSA.
Right.
So we are given that information, and then based on that information, you develop rent rates. Okay.
Yeah.
So 60% typically is of the AMI is 60% of the AMI is what they use. Okay.
Okay.
So 60% of the AMI is $55,620.
Yeah.
Okay. So someone that averages that could live in the community, okay? You're allowed to go up to 80% AMI, which is $74,160.
Yeah.
Okay? And so typically you have to be able to pay the rent, so you don't dip below 40%. The 40% AMI is $37,080. So between the 40 and 80% AMI, that is the resident base that will be taken from to live in this community. And the rent rates are by bedrooms and by people, but typically, not typically, the definition of rent being housing burdened in the United States, if you pay over 30% of your yearly income for housing and utilities. And so the definition is set at that, and the rent rates are then set at 30, they can not pay more than 30% of their income, and including utilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So every tenant would have a different rental rate?
that is, that's possible.
Potentially.
That's potentially. And does everybody make exactly 60% of the AMI? No. You're going to have everybody between 40 and 80% AMI. But by law, you have to average 60%. You just can't take all a bunch of 80%ers. So, and as I said, the job postings from Walmart pharmacy to administrative judge assistant, state of South Carolina in Richland County, to the fire department district firefighter, to the school district website job posting pay scale, to the licensed nurse practitioner, to the shift leader at Chick-fil-A, all their income levels fall within that 40 to 80%. That data is out there. You can just look at it. It's on the website for the fire department's website.
Well, no, I don't doubt that the data is there. I'm just looking at the seniors who, when they were working, that average income wasn't $92,000, and they're living on retirement based on probably half or 2/3 of that at their peak. And so my focus is the senior portion of
So
your
we would
development.
provide housing for those people because of the restricted rents. That is what you get with tax credits. It's the only thing that is the difference between the market rate is that we have restricted rents.
And how long would those tax credits typically last?
By law, it's 30 years.
30? Okay. Those are all the questions I had.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Excuse me. Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Based on the information that I have, my vote for tonight is no.
Mr. Penfield?
No.
Ms. Coleman?
No.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
No. Next item up, first reading of ordinance 2613, amendments to conditional uses for home occupations. Section 2 to 3-7 of the Irmo zoning ordinance is brought by Councilman Ward. This ordinance would clarify allowable and prohibited home occupations and broaden the use of home occupation. Where are they all going? To continue, this ordinance would clarify allowable and prohibited home occupations and broaden the use of home occupations into accessory buildings on residential lots. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, I'll open for discussion. Mr. Ward, Councilman Ward?
Yes, Mayor. If you would entertain, I prepared a statement. Just wanted to publicly say that I'm proud to support this ordinance change. I do believe that it cuts government red tape, directly supports Irmo's local entrepreneurs and our remote workforce. If you've not had a chance to read the ordinance changes, the biggest thing is it will expand the current ordinance to allow a property owner or a tenant to utilize the entire space. By the entire space, right now the ordinance restricts anybody from utilizing something as simple as their garage to be able to run their business. We have a lot of businesses that are actually running out of their garage, and so this would help just make sure that they're doing so legally. And then it also cleans up some of the language so that it is very specific about what is allowed to be a home-based business versus what is not allowed to be a home-based business. For me, we are very pro-business in this town. I feel like we're trying to be as best pro-resident in this town as well. And so this just allows us to apply some common sense restrictions while allowing more to happen within our homes. And so I'd entertain any questions or comments that anybody may have, but that was the purpose of pushing the changes in this ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Comments?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Ward for bringing this forward, because it was something I hadn't realized, that we restricted that use, but it does make sense to amend this.
Okay, no other comments? Lisa, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Okay, next up, Resolution 2606, a resolution to approve expenditures of revenues generated from the Accommodations Tax. Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee. This would allocate an estimated $81,900 to 7 different organizations which applied for accommodations tax funding for fiscal year 27. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Haven't been appropriately motioned. We'll open for discussion. These dollar amounts are estimates at this point, so we'll end up approving this by percentages, which are based on the dollar amounts that would be suggested by the committee. So I will take additional comments, just so everybody knows that we'll be using percentages. Any comments over here? No? All right. So what's happening here is there is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 special funds, which is 65% of the money, 30% restricted funds, which is going to go to Capital City, Lake Murray. They were the only ones, I believe, that applied for that. Maybe not, I'm not sure. But they do all the tourism and the advertising, and so it's very specific what that money can go for. The other 65% will be going to Lexington Health, Irmo Orchestra, Harbison Theater at Midlands Technical College, Sharpview International Festival, African American Historical Society of Irmo, Irmo Cherry Blossom Festival, and Ensemble Electrica. Without any other comments, I would have us call the roll for the recommendations by the committee.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you. Next up is consideration of contract renewal with MPA Strategies for Public Information Officer Services, brought to us by the staff. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I haven't been appropriately motioned. Jim, this comes to you. Would you tell us what's up here?
MPA Strategies has been with us for a year. Ashley's done phenomenal work with us and with the PIO services and additional services with events. Now that we have an events person, Ashley scaled back her contract, but we still need those additional services. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. It's a one-time vote. Staff recommended. Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Okay, next item, consideration of contract renewal with CC&I for building inspection services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Haven't been appropriately motioned. This also goes to Jim, coming from the staff who's done all the legwork on this. Could you let us know
Sure. This is our building inspector services, along with our permitting for any kind of commercial, residential that needs inspections. Wayne Willis with CCI, they redid the scope on their contract from 25% to 30%. Will come back to the town. And then they also have all their permitting software and everything set up, so it just made sense to go back and renew their contract. This original contract was from 2020, and therefore there was addendums against this contract, so we requested them do a brand-new contract without addendums. So staff recommends approval.
Comments, questions? Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you. Next up, consideration of a contract with Asset Technology Group to serve as the Town of Irmo information technology vendor, brought to us by the staff. This is a 3-year contract with 2 optional 2-year extensions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Haven't been appropriately motioned. We'll open for discussion. Folks, I know it seems like we're flying through some of these things, but there's weeks and weeks of work to get to this point. How many RFPs did you get from Asset for Technology? 27, 30?
26.
Yeah, 26. So there's been a lot of work that's gone in this to whittle this down. So Jim, go ahead, take it.
We issued an RFP on March 5th, 2026 for IT services. We're currently with a current vendor that expires in August. This is a 5-year, so if we didn't serve them with a notice not to renew, it automatically renew for another 5 years. We felt that our town of Irmo needs to be competitive with our IT services, so we issued that RFP. Those top 3 finalists were Cantney Tech Consulting, Pollock Company, and Asset Technology Group. And staff chose the Asset Technology Group as the most responsive responder, and staff requests approval.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you. Next up, consideration of contract with the County of Lexington to assign Ed Lewis as primary municipal judge and Gary Morgan as backup municipal judge, brought to us by the staff. This contract will provide backup judges to Judge Rebecca Adams at an annual cost of $5,000 to the County of Lexington. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Haven't been appropriately motioned. Jim?
So back in January, we approved for an associate judge for the town of Irmo. Well, Ed got selected as the magistrate for North Region to replace Rebecca Adams, so he is no longer our associate judge for the town of Irmo. Congratulations to Ed. So he is going to be our backup judge with the county, so that's a contract that we have with Lexington County.
Okay. Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Next item, ratification of a contract for a temporary part-time human resource contractor, so brought to us by the staff. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
So this is a ratification for the town administrator for a contract, contract that I issued to Ms. Lynn Dooley. We recently had a vacancy in our HR department. The town of Irmo is big enough where we need a full-time HR person. Lynn Dooley is retired from the city of Casey, and she reluctantly agreed to come back for 2 months to help us through this transition of employees and such. So it's a contract for just 2 months. So we can advertise properly, and we're not rushed in hiring somebody, especially in that critical position.
And people get paid.
That helps.
That's
Happy
sweet.
staff.
Yeah, got it. Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Penfield?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Danielson?
Yes. Thank you all. Next item up, and there's nobody signed up, but the next item up is presentation by citizens on any subject whatsoever. Is there anyone who's still here who wants to chat? Come on down, name and address, not that we don't know who you are.
Nicole Sanchez, 121 Leslie Lock Lane. I do live in the town. And actually, I don't want to speak on the development. I actually wanted to speak on the storage units. You guys decided before I moved into the town that you didn't want more storage units. And to me, that seemed like enough reason not to do it. But listening to the conversations, other things started to actually concern me. So we all remember Helene. I was out without power for 10 days. And at that point, I lived in the boonies over on Kennerly. And guess where I had to go to wash my clothes? It was to that laundromat. And I kind of liked initially the point that Dr. Waldman brought up about, you know, he can only do it in the areas that are currently open. But then what's to stop him from pushing out this laundromat? There aren't any other laundromats. I double checked and Googled it. So while I only had to use it because of a specific situation, actually a couple because my washer broke, but that place is hopping. There are lots of people using it. And to potentially incentivize someone who, as far as I can tell, has not been a good steward of that property, to push out a needed business, that seems problematic to me. The other thing is, as Councilor Coleman brought up, it is a little blighted. I will admit that. That parking lot, I drive through it sometimes, it's awful. But he could fix that without us trying to stick more storage units that the town doesn't want. And part of the concern is, you know, what's going to go there? Well, as we learned earlier today, there's lots of development happening, particularly in that area. And that shopping center, I think, is going to blow up again. I think there are going to be lots of people who want to move there. And if we knock it all down and stick in storage units, I don't think anybody's going to want to pay that additional money to knock the storage units down and put in something that I actually want. Yeah, like, I like businesses that I can frequent and little boutiques and shopping centers, and I like being able to go to places and basically spend my money. I don't think we need more places to stick our stuff. I know we have a lot of it, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item up, discussion, nothing for discussion. Following item is executive session. Town council may act on items discussed in the executive session after returning from the executive session. Executive session pursuant to 30-4-70A2 for receipt of legal advice regarding matters covered by the attorney-client privilege concerning a complaint against counsel. Possible actions and follow-up to the executive session. Is there a motion to go in executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, folks, we're in executive session. Okay, folks, we're back from executive session. No votes were taken in executive session. No decisions were made. As I mentioned on item 15, possible action and follow-up to executive session. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to direct the town attorney to work with the town administration to investigate the alleged complaint and report back within 45 days.
Second.
There is a second, okay? Lisa, will you call the roll?
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mayor Daniels.
Yes. Okay, folks, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.